What's happening, guys? It is Sunday night here at Rust Explode Studios. We got a great group of guys that do stuff for charity, heroes for a cause. And I met them last week on Phil Russell's show, and I was inspired by them because you know me, I'm always big about kids, charities, and giving back to kids who have specific illnesses and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to have these guys on and let them tell you about the work that they do and the products that they offer and the kids that they help with this. We do have one member that'll be coming in about 10 or 15 minutes late, so Joseph will be on after a little while. But I would like to introduce, we've got Donovan Peterson.
Hey, guys.
And we've got Jeremiah.
How's it going?
How's it going tonight, fellas?
Doing good.
Well.
Doing good.
Donovan, you said you're still at work, so that's not any fun.
It happens.
We got Wendy in here, and we've got Mike in here. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm going to share this out to a few more places.
Yeah, we shared it on our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebooks as well.
Cool. Awesome. So, you guys have a charity thing that you do with the Pathway comic books.
We do.
If you guys want to give you guys a chance to kind of tell everybody what that's all about.
Absolutely. We run a website called heroesforcauses.com. Basically, we make comic books featuring heroes with various illnesses or disabilities so that kids with the same thing have a hero they can actually relate to. And it's all done for, to educate people on what these kids go through and show just how strong they are.
Yeah, and the first book that you guys did, The Pathways, with the gas, that was for cystic fibrosis. And then you guys have...
Which is the disease I myself have.
And then book number 2, which you guys haven't released yet, right?
No, so far we've done a print of the cover with the story on the background of the backside of the patient we're basing it off of. And we're at the fundraising stage for that.
And that's going to be for Center Ice, which is going to be for pediatric brain cancer.
Correct.
Yeah,
the kid we're basing that one off of just turned 14. He's had brain cancer 4 times. Still plays hockey every weekend.
That's awesome.
He's an amazing kid.
It's great stories like that you hear of people overcoming things and just, pushing through. And, it's great to hear that, he has the motivation at that age, having brain cancer one time and then just being like, I'm going to push and do the things I love to do, but to have it 4 times and still be playing hockey and doing what you love, that's awesome. Right. And it's great to hear.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I mean, we do what we do. Hi, Jack. So we basically do what we do just to, not only raise the awareness and hopefully raise some money for them, but make the kids smile, Every time they get to, have someone who finally can understand just a little bit of what they're going through makes their lives so much easier.
Right. And it's
not just good for that. I mean, kids when they...
Oh, go ahead,
Donovan.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No. I was just going to say, too,
go ahead, buddy.
It's nice. Right now, the macrocosm of the world's divided. And so that relates into the microcosm of the comics world. And Jeremiah, Joseph, and myself all love comics. And in a way, these kids that we're basing on, or these people that we base them on, are bigger heroes than anything that's represented fictionally. So in a way, it's kind of what we're hoping, like Jeremiah says, that it reflects the people that we're basing them on, but also, just a light of some kind of positivity, where you're not arguing over one side or the other, and it's just like a bright light to show you what comics can do when people who truly love them throw their all into it.
Well, and everybody, from my previous shows, my son's had 2 open heart surgeries. He had 1 at a week old. He had a cardiac cath at 11 months. He had a cardiac cath at, I think it was, what was it, hon? 30 months. He was 2.5. Yeah, he was 2.5. He had a cardiac cath the prior month before. They're like, oh, he's fine. All we need to do. What? No, it was 2.5. It was in 2017. Yeah, so, they went in and they did his echo and they're like, oh, everything looks great. We're going to go in and do a cath. And then so we go in and do the cath and they come back out. They're like, oh yeah, everything went great with the cardiac cath. We ballooned his aorta, but we're ordering open heart surgery next month. And we're like, what? You know, and they're like, yeah, you know, when we went in with the cardiac cath, there's a bunch of heart muscle that built up. So like Roderick, what he is, he's a truncus type 1. What happened with him is he was born with a single coronary artery. Whenever you're in the womb, your coronary starts out as one, and then it splits off into 2 separate coronary arteries. You get your pulmonary and your aorta. Well, his never split, so his blood went heart lung, heart lung, heart lung when he was born. So there's all this stuff that we had to go through. They had him hydrogen hood. We didn't get to hold him. I mean, the whole 9 yards, and they're doing all this crazy stuff. And, you know, so he had this first open heart surgery. They went in and they cut his pulmonary arteries away and added in a cadaver artery to form as his pulmonary coronary artery. So, like with him, it's crazy. You know, whenever they first found out before he was born, they're like 3 surgeries, he's done. And we're like, yeah, cool. And then in February, they're like, oh no, it's even better than we thought. 2 surgeries, and then we're done. And we're like, yes, that's even better. You know, because we're not happy about having open heart surgery, but you know, if we do 3 and he makes it, he's good to go. Well, then he was born, and they're like, oh, we were totally wrong with what it was. He's got 2 super rare conditions. One we've only been doing for 7 years. We don't know what the life expectancy is, or, you know, how many times he's going to have surgery, but he's going to have them for the rest of his life. And so it's like, you know, it's hard having a heart kid and explaining to him, hey, you know, your heart was fixed, but you have this coronary artery inside you that's dead tissue, so it can calcify, it can scar. If it scars, it shrinks. He's growing, so eventually he outgrows it because it doesn't grow with him. The valve inside could wear out, so we constantly have to go to these doctor's appointments so they can check all this, make sure the pressures are good. And then he was born with a second really rare heart condition, which is an interrupted aortic arch. So he has a 5-millimeter gap in his aorta when he was a baby, and so they went in and replaced that with an artery, and then put Gore-Tex in with it, and it was supposed to grow with him, but it didn't. And that's why he's had all these cardiac casts, because they go in and they widen it, which is always scary, because if they burst it, then they have to take him in to open heart, and it's a mess. But you know, it's great to hear charities like this, because, sorry, I didn't mean to go derail there for a minute, but there's not a lot of stuff out there for kids with these conditions. So, like, in our area in St. Louis, we have a group that, you know, the Cardinal Glennon Heart Kids, because Cardinal Glennon is the hospital in St. Louis that everybody uses. Dr. Huddleston's one of the top doctors in the hospital there. And, you know, we have a support group with the parents, and we try to do gatherings, but here we are in 2020, nobody can get in large gatherings. These kids don't have these support groups that they can go to. And what you guys do is huge. You write a book about kid with, you know, cystic fibrosis, and he's fighting, he's got these superpowers, and, you know, kids that are sitting at home that have no support can get these books and sit there and read that, and like, oh, here's a guy like me, and he does all this cool stuff. And it's really awesome. You know, when I heard what you guys did, it just blew me away. And it really hits home, because as a father to a kid that has, you know, a critical illness condition, you know, we see on our end what these kids go through all the time.
Yeah.
And especially when they're young, they don't understand. You know, you can't tell a 5-year-old, you know, hey, they're going to go in and cut your heart open and put new arteries and stuff in. And all they know is, hey, you're going to have surgery. And then they come out and they hurt really bad, and their chest is wide open. They don't understand why, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's hard.
I mean, that's kind of the point of this, is to, you know, help people understand exactly what these kids go through all the time. Like I said, I was in the hospital more often than not as a kid, and you know, the other kids that know you, they know you're sick, they know you're in the hospital, but they don't really get it.
Yeah,
and one of my younger brothers even has CF, but part of one of the things with that is we're not supposed to be within 6 foot of another patient. So I've got my own brother, like at Thanksgiving this year, we had to sit on way opposite ends of the room. I mean, I can't give my own brother a hug. I mean, normal people don't get that. It can be, even when you have people around you, it can be very, very lonely. And, you know, that we want to show these kids that they're not alone, and show people how strong they are, and make them smile a little bit at the same time.
Yeah, and it is hard. You know, Jeremiah, that's a big thing, you know, with Roderick, and, you know, with you and other kids. You know, Roderick, we have to quarantine him, you know, when RSV season comes around, when the flu season comes around. You know, the medical system sucks. Insurance sucks. And the reason why I say that is RSV is a horrible, horrible virus. When he was 2 and 3, and it was 2 and 3, they gave him the Synagis shots, which they have a vaccine for RSV that they can give you. It is $1,600 a month. They have to come in your house.
Real quick, Russell, not to interrupt you, but Joseph is backstage.
Oh, he is? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'll bring him out. Thank you for noticing that. So they come in once a month and they give you this $1,600 shot, and the insurance was like, all right, we'll cover it because he's young and he's got a critical illness. Well, last year they didn't cover it. Well, he was in preschool, so he got it, and they ended up paying a wazoo because we had 3 visits to the hospital. The first time he went in, they tried to give him albuterol syrup, which we're like, we've never even heard of this stuff before. So we called the doctor the next day. We're like, hey, is it going to be okay to give this to him? And they're like, no, don't give that to him. That kills heart kids. And we're like, what? Why would the hospital give us this knowing that he's a heart kid? So we went through all this craziness. He got hospitalized a second time. He got over it. His sister got it. Then my wife got it. Then I got it. I had it for like a month and a half. I couldn't get rid of it. And then Roderick got it back a second time and went to the hospital for a third time. So, it's hard on these kids because you have to quarantine them. It's like, oh, okay, the flu's out. You can't go to school. Well, why can't I go to school? I miss my friends. And it's like, because your heart, these kids, it's hard on them not being able to be around their friends. Like, especially now, with the coronavirus, anybody that has a critical illness cannot be around other people. It's like, you got to have your food delivered to your house and you feel like a prisoner in your own home. And it's just insanity. And the same thing for kids that do get sick, or kids with these critical illness, or a cystic fibrosis kid that goes in the hospital. Their parents can't be there with them. And people don't think about that. This person's kids in the hospital by themselves because they won't allow the parents there. At least here. I don't know about where you guys are.
Well, here in Florida, we're allowed to have one visitor at a time, and they have to get like masked, gloved, gowned up. Like, it looks like they're walking into a biohazard zone.
Oh, yeah.
Just for them to be in the room with us. It's tough.
It's really tough.
Like you were saying about like the shot that's $1,600 or whatever. Like one of my medicines, I take 27 pills a day. Just one of them is $300,000 a year.
And that's insane.
Like people don't
but you have
really understand. Absolutely. And all those are just to keep me, here, not getting better.
Yeah.
So.
And it's insane, it's just insane, man. So, welcome, Joseph. Sorry, I didn't see you back there. I don't know how long you were back there. Hopefully it wasn't long.
I was just spying on you guys.
What are you guys doing in there? So, yeah, I can't say enough good things about this. I can bring up the website here real quick and kind of show everybody, maybe. Just kind of show everybody the first book that you guys did.
And while you're doing that, I'll do what I always do and show people just how passionate and dedicated I am to this. This is the tattoo on my leg of our first hero. There you go.
Let me give you full screen.
I was just trying to find a way where it's not horribly glary. But yeah, that's the tattoo that's very large and on my leg. I'm actually about to get one of the new hero too here in the next month or so. That goes from like my knee up like halfway up my thigh. But like that's how much all this work means to me, is I got it permanently put on me.
We're gonna enter you into
awesome.
the Guinness Book of World Records when we get you all the characters on you. You'll be the person with the most superheroes on his body.
That'd be an interesting record to break because there's some people who have a lot of them already. There are people who have every inch of their bodies tattooed. So,
are they all the Marvel and DC ones though?
No,
they're different ones.
Yeah, like the most tattooed person actually has their body made to look like a lizard. Like it's all scales and stuff. And it has his teeth filed down and had like surgical horns, like ridges put in and everything.
I saw him on one of the TV shows. I forget which one.
Yeah.
There we go. Maybe it's gonna load. Are we getting the spinning wheel of death? It looks like
we are. Yep.
Does not compute. We'll try again here in a second. So how does one go about? So how did you guys end up finding the children to do this with? What is your guys' process? So if somebody out there has, a critical illness that they would love, to get with you guys and set something up, does one do that?
Generally, that process is first somebody who, if they have a cause in mind, they'd mention it to us. We'd talk to them, and they would set us up with some foundation or somebody who might have the money. We talk to them about the money parts, and then we make sure that there's a patient and medical staff working with us when we make the books. That way, the patient, we base the hero off them, and they are there for keeping us honest and accurate on what they deal with. Then we got the medical staff on there so they can keep us accurate on that part of things. So we make sure we are as accurate as possible while still making it, fun and a good read.
Oh, now is it going to do it? Wow. There we go. I think we're.
I see it.
I think we're in business. There we go. It only took like 2 hours to finally pop up on here. So this is the homepage for the website. You guys have a shop on here. I'm going to pull up the first book. Maybe if my Chromebook doesn't die on me.
Yeah. And with the shop, we will be adding stuff for the new hero shortly.
Okay.
Because that's something that's, just finally getting going, so we didn't have a whole lot on there for it yet. It's all pathway stuff at the moment.
Come
Except
on,
for that
load
one
up.
sticker.
You can do it. Yeah, except for the one sticker that I'm going to show here as soon as it gets on blurry.
So yeah, with anything on the
Let's try
shop,
this again.
obviously, Jeremiah might have said this, but everything, all of our profits go to charity in some way or another, whether that's the American Cancer Society, Colton's Foundation, Colton's Legacy Foundation, or any future foundations that we work with. That's the mission. If they can cover our basic expenses, and we can continue to print these books and get them out there and solicit them out there. And I don't know if Newman's Own, whatever they make the salad dressings and stuff.
They said we don't
trademark
line
or
up.
not.
They said that we don't line up with them. I tried.
I don't know if they have the phrase trademarked or whatever, but they say all profits to charity. So if not, that's essentially what we're doing. I think that's the easiest way to put it out there, because we don't want people thinking that we're getting rich off this. And I don't know if people think that about comics in general. But yeah, we're doing this for awareness. We're doing this to bring each child their own Superman, and hopefully raise some funds for the important charities that we're working with.
Which is awesome. There's not a lot of charities that can say, hey, we give 100% of everything that we do. I'm trying to bring the share screen up, so I apologize.
We even had the local head of the American Cancer Society showed up at Comic-Con with me, literally just to look at the kind of stuff that the other booths were selling, so she could get ideas for stuff that we could sell to get people's attention. Like, she showed up at a Comic-Con just to do research.
That's
cool.
Awesome. So here we go. We got the official Pathway throw blanket, and then there's Center Ice there in the middle on their shop. And then I did post the link for their page in the comments. It's also in the description for the video, as well as their Facebook page. So if you guys want to go follow them on Facebook and check out the shop and purchase some of the stuff. So here's the first comic. They have it in the holofoil cover, and then they also have it where you can get the PDF. On the next page here, if we get here. Come on, baby. There we go. So then you've got the, I think this one's just the regular foil, the $10 one, right?
Yeah, that one's the lettering, the purple lettering, and the ribbon are foiled.
Okay, so the $10 is the foil, the $5 the regular, and then the $2 is the PDF, and it's not loading on that.
Right. And it is important to point out that both the foil and the hollow foil, we only have a limited number of those.
I think we're down to.
We only made a set number, and when they're gone, they're gone.
I think we're down to about 55 of the holofoil ones.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right, because I purchased the copy to review on my review show. It's supposed to be here Thursday or Friday. I think I got the email notification yesterday that it was shipped out. So I'm going to be reviewing that and showing everybody off the book. But yeah, I believe it said there was only 55 available. Yeah, there's 200 of just the foil lettering. and 55 of the holofoil.
And then actually the standard book at shows and stuff, we give that out for free, and we recommend donations to our charitable partner that we work with for that book. So the idea this year was to do 4 medium-sized conventions. We had about 5,000 of the standard Pathway books printed up, which I think we ended up with about 4,000 of.
Yeah, we sent 1,000 to the foundation.
Yeah, and the idea was to hand those out, just educate people a little bit about cystic fibrosis, introduce the hero, and if they were moved by our campaign, recommend a donation to the foundation on the back, which is Colton's Legacy.
Are you not at home, Joseph? You don't have them with you? You usually do.
I do. This one?
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Show it off a little bit if you got it with you. Mine are in the other room. Yeah, that's Colton that we worked with. He was on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette and the NFL. His little niece has CF, so that's why he hooked up with us. Yeah, that's actually Donovan decided to do a drawing of me wearing the costume. That's how that came out.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
That's because you are him.
I am. He's based off me. Yep.
Yeah.
What a motley crew.
This is a nice editorial here in the back. Who wrote that?
I'm not sure. Somebody. A crazed man at the end of his rope.
It's very heartfelt.
It is.
And so are the others.
Yeah, we even have, in the back, we have advertisements for, even a CF summer camp, a yoga studio that does free online yoga for CF patients. It's not just us working, we help, others and advertising others that do the same type of stuff in other fields.
That's really cool. So
Yeah, we'll have to get in touch with some cancer-related, foundations or communities for Center Ice,
Mm-hmm.
so we can get them in the book.
Yeah, I'm working with a few places here in Florida for when I do my Center Ice tattoo to do a fundraiser where people come in and get ribbon tattoos, and it goes to charity as well and stuff like that when I'm doing my tattoo.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So do you guys have a timeline for when you think that Center Ice is going to be releasing, or?
Right now, the ACS has a couple ideas on, they have a couple people they want to reach out to for funding. Because of who some of those people are, we're not allowed to say anything yet until it's official.
Yeah.
But it really just depends on funding, honestly. We are hoping within about the next 3 to 4 months. But that just really depends on funding.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's,
so who does...
from
Go ahead, Joseph.
From when we get rolling, it's about 3 to 4 months once we get the green light. Because the art process of any comic book is so demanding. From an hour standpoint. So given that we're all pretty much the core team's volunteering, and then all of the other pieces, we're kind of contracting out. We got to work it around our 9-to-5s and our family commitments and stuff like that. So we're trying our best. Donovan's working his butt off. He did the same thing with Pathway 1. And right now it's just trying to get awareness out there and trying to get a community supporting us so that we can try to do this more, with more of our time and more of our effort. But the inker, Kieran was from Spain. Colorist, Danny Chavez, I think he is from Costa Rica.
Yeah. And
then a letter from the first book, Lucas Gattoni, he was from Argentina. So we had a kind of an international team working on this, and we were all connected, through a calling, I guess, to do something, like Donovan likes to say, bigger than ourselves, which he thinks is corny, but I think is legit. That is what connected us through the Pathway Project, and hopefully we have the opportunity and platforms to continue to do this and reach more people, because I think, like you said, Russell, once you heard about it, you were moved by the mission, and I think it's just not enough people know about it yet. So as we grow and as we connected, hey Pops, thank you very much.
Appreciate that.
We were part of CromCon with Pops. He's a great guy, and he said, yeah, anything that we need, with the Madness group, we're allowed to post in there and stuff, and he's very supportive. So, you, Russell, and Pops, and and all you guys, you're our core, you're our family, and hopefully, you can help us, get this message out to a broader audience, because the comic book community is, very tight knit. I don't want to say it's limited, but a lot of people go to see a movie and they don't know it's based off a comic book. So if we can kind of tap the mainstream, and kind of let them know, like Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, just so we can get on there, maybe we get some awareness on what we're doing, but then also maybe some awareness for the comics community in general.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody runs in different circles, but every circle overlaps somewhere, and that's what it is. You got to get in with, like my circle overlaps with Pops and with Philip Russerts, and with Heather's with Comics and More Chaos, and she's the one that sent me the money to get the book because I'm doing the reviews for her. So I'm excited to get the book in and show it off, and when I do the review of the book, I'll do other reviews of books on there. So hopefully doing that show will spread it to even more of a wider audience. And that's what it is. It's just getting the word out there. It's hard, especially when people look at some of these charities and they're like, oh yeah, I don't know if I want to give that place or not, because I don't know if everything goes towards what it's supposed to go for, because you got a lot of these charities that you give to, and it's like you come to find out 17 cents of every dollar you give actually goes towards what you're sending the money for, and the rest of it goes to run the business. And then guys like you do free labor, free art, free line work, you're printing this, so you're doing all this stuff on your time and donating every cent that you make to it, and people don't know that because it's hard to get the word out. And so that's what we're here for. We're here to help.
Some of us have gone into debt doing these books already.
And show you my credit card statements.
Well, I think
Exposure is
that's
king.
That's the irony. I was talking to Joseph about it, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong because I'm so far away, but Joseph and Jeremiah do the majority of the legwork, honestly, getting out there and talking to people, and I just sit back and smile and nod and agree with everything they say. But I think we scare people because they don't really believe they don't believe our altruism is true. And your guys' exposure, like Pops just said, it is king, but it also proves that hopefully we're not blowing smoke up somebody's ass and we're just going to pop in and pop out, but we're actually genuinely trying to move the needle of humanity a little bit further down the line, and not, we're not here to rip somebody off, and we just want a message, and we want comics to flourish, and we want the people that we're representing to know that they're, like you said, they're not alone, and that there's more to the medium the three of us love than just who's on this side, who's on that side, and are they killing Batman again this week or not? So, but yeah, so it helps is my point, I guess. Because I remember having a conversation with Joseph and I think Jeremiah when you guys first started talking to ACS, right? Mm-hmm. And they were a little, we don't know about these guys. When's the other shoe going to drop? What do they really want from us? What's the long con? And we're like, no, we just want to make a comic about this kid, and we're going to make him a big superhero. He's already a hero. We're just going to make him kind of a superhero, and we're going to go from there. So you guys help that.
Exactly. Like I made a post on the other day on all of our social medias talking about how Wednesday is my birthday, and that all I really want is for anybody who's willing to post our website and stuff and tag any celebrity that you follow in it, just to get one celebrity to talk about our causes. Perfect birthday gift.
Even a mini celebrity.
Yeah, even a mini one. Granted, yes, McFarlane commented on our cover that he loved it. That's cool. We tweeted by Neil Gaiman. That was awesome. But those are the last book. We need the new one.
Yeah, you could always get in with the Sharknado crew. You got some B and C actors there that made a movie that exploded. So maybe they can help promote it for you.
Yeah. Have you ever seen a comedian on YouTube named Eric Schwartz?
No.
He
I don't think I
does
have.
a bit about being a quartered step Mexican. Like he's a Jewish Mexican guy. But he did a little promo video after we talked to him and posted on all his stuff when we were working on the first book, and that was kind of cool. But it just that little bit of exposure can help so much. And the more the more our name gets out there, the more we can help these kids, and more kids we can make smile, and more causes we can do.
So what was your guys' inspiration? So what was the point that you all got together? You know, what was the thing that broke the ice that got you guys together on this project that was like, hey, let's get together and let's make these books for kids who have critical illnesses and try to, you know, help get support for them?
Well, it originally started with me because I have CF myself. I made a cosplay costume that whose original goal was just to wear it to hand out information about CF when I go to like cons and random fairs and things like that, because I do that a lot. And then I posted on one of the comic book finders groups, like the comic book creators groups, looking for just someone who just draw like a faux cover for me to use as the pamphlet. And I guess these guys just loved it so much. Joseph was like, hey, we could do a whole comic book. And then Donovan just heard the word cystic fibrosis and he goes, I'm in.
It's true. Yeah, that's what it was. It was a Facebook post. Jeremiah's like, hey, I have this character. I have cystic fibrosis. The character has it. I'm just looking for like a poster. Was it a poster or a pin? I don't remember.
It was gonna be like a just like the cover of a comic book, but the back would kind of like the print we're doing for Center Ice now. It's just gonna be like that. Right. The front would be a comic book cover. On the back would be like the story of why I was doing it and what CF is and things like that.
And Jeremiah is right. The minute I saw it, so just to go back a step for me is my cousin had cystic fibrosis, and he sadly passed away from it, and he had met his wife through the hospital. She had it. They're both gone now. But whenever anything comes up with cystic fibrosis, my antennae go up, and I'm like, oh, what's this? And it just happened to intersect with a comic book and CF, and I'm like, I don't even give a hell what it is. Let's do it. And Joseph's like, no, there's more to it than just one drawing, and that's kind of where I came in.
It's when you're called to do something, something kind of pulls at your heartstrings. You know that it's a worthwhile cause, and now it's just a matter of it connected the three of us, and parts and pieces like Philip and you, Russell, and Pops of the comic book community. I think the message is clear. We're not screwing anybody over. We're doing it for a good cause. And now it's just, expanding the platform and making sure that these true superheroes that are these kids fighting these chronic illnesses know that they're not alone. And COVID, did a number on everybody, not just, kids going through those huge fights and battles, and then especially hard on those, because, your kid just asks, when am I going to see my friends? So just to give them a little bit of hope, a little bit of inspiration, let them wear a cape for a few minutes, let them forget, all the turmoil and trouble and the, struggle that they're going through, and let them connect with a superhero that's uniquely their own. I think that's what connected all of us. So. Yeah,
because that's where we were back in March and April. We were at the point that, like Roderick, he had to go in for a heart checkup and they canceled it. He's a high critical priority. Hey, he needs to get into the doctor, but they're like, oh no, you can't come in. And then so when they did do it, it was hard because they're like, oh, okay, only one parent's allowed in, and if he has to have surgery, nobody will be allowed to be in the hospital after the surgery. And it's like, you got to think about these kids when they go, like with you, Jeremiah, when you constantly have to go and get these procedures or go in for treatments and stuff. These kids are doing it alone. So just to be able to, like you said, give them a book that puts them in the shoes of the character that has the problems that they have. Over time, hopefully you guys can build up enough of characters and illnesses that you can give them, send them out for pretty much everything. Have them available for these kids, when they're in the hospital. That's the dream. And you, Jeremiah, you're like a living prodigy. You're like one of the oldest kids alive to have the cystic fibrosis.
Yeah, there are people who are older than me, but
Yeah.
I mean, that's up until a few years ago. Yeah, life expectancy was only like 25 or 30. So
Yeah, and that's another thing you got to think about too. You know, these kids grow up with these issues, and it's like, oh, I'm only gonna live to be 25. I'm not gonna, experience what it's like to have a wife or have kids or have a husband and have kids, or this there's a lot of stuff that these diseases take away from these kids. Being able to see their friends, like you mentioned.
and what's cool is, I mean, yeah, we got Pathway, who was our, the CF superhero, but there is actually another CF real life superhero that like nobody in the States knows about. But it's because he's not a comic book; he's an actual person. His name is Ben. Wait, I'll show you. This is so much glare. That's Ben. That is not the real Thor, I promise. Yeah, that's another guy with CF. His name is Ben, but he lives over in Ireland. He actually is a CF personal trainer, and that's what he does for a living. He actually stayed in a standing paddle boat all the way from the Bahamas to Florida for 14 hours straight. And it's the 4th year in a row he's done it.
Good
Wow.
Lord.
That's insane.
Yeah, but he looks like Thor. Like I said, everybody like over in like Ireland, he's really well known. Here, nobody knows who he is. It's crazy.
How old is he?
He's 29 and in way better shape than I am. Yeah, he's still pretty young. I think he just turned 29.
He's in better shape than I am, and all I have is male pattern baldness. You know what I'm saying? Come on now.
Fair point. Fair point.
So how do you guys come up with the stories for these characters? Like, who's the main one who does the writing for the stories?
It's a pretty equal group effort. Like we let the obviously in Pathway I was the patient, and with Center Ice Weston's the patient. We let him choose the costume, the powers, tell us what it is he struggles with, and then we take all that and go with this and incorporate it into the story. Because it's kind of like, you remember the really old Captain Planet cartoons? Like the bad guys were like the embodiment of the struggles. Yeah. That's how our bad guys are. Like when you look at the Gasp, I mean, some people can go, hey, he kind of looks like Green Goblin, which, yeah, is true. But if you look closely, that's not feathers on his top part, that's tobacco leaves. And the things he pulls his bombs out of is a little cigarette case. Like he's the embodiment of air pollution that is bad with us. And so, that like with Center Ice, Mr. I, one of the things Weston told us is all the treatments are from like the 60s, or it's all really old. So Mr. I builds robots out of like old recycled, like, technology that nobody uses anymore. Builds robots out of that to attack stuff. So like our bad guys are literally the different struggles that the kids go through.
That's really cool.
It's,
so Donovan, I guess you do a lot of the art and stuff like that.
Yeah, I do so for the actual issue for Pathway, I was the penciler, and then what I did was when we first started, it was a bunch of so the costume, Jeremiah always said he basically had the costume. I just kind of tweaked it a little bit to give it a little bit of a curvy crack. Right, exactly. And then when it came to the Gasp, Joseph and Jeremiah just kind of said, this is what we're thinking, and because we were so focused on really, kind of the mission statement is we're going to borrow from all those old Amazing Spider-Man issues where you pick up an issue, whether it was 200 or it was 189, and there was more of a story going on, but everything was self-contained, and they were just fun. You know what I mean? There wasn't any, terrible angst, or it wasn't bogged down with a lot of continuity. It wasn't. But, that was kind of where we were going with. And so when, clearly as you're going into the Spider-Man mythos and borrowing from it, I did. I stole a little bit of the Vulture and a little bit of Hobgoblin, a little bit of Green Goblin, a little bit of Mysterio, a little bit, and I did a concept work and I send it out to the guys and they would be like, oh, change this, or this would be a cool idea, or someone would have an idea before I even went pencil to paper, and that's how we did it. And then as the story evolved, like Jeremiah was saying, it really was fairly, no pun intended, because I was talking about Spider-Man, but it was fairly symbiotic because we all would share. And, you know, by the time I got to thumbnails, it was pretty much already good to go, you know. So it was organic. I think Joseph was saying that, you know, it was easy because we really were of one mind in where we wanted to go and how it wanted to reflect what time period and what comics, you know. So the first thing we did was the actual cover, which was, you know, an homage to that old, what issue is it again?
298.
That's it. Yeah, 298 with Chance versus Spider-Man on the cover that McFarlane had done back in the 80s. So. Uh-oh. I'm just talking, huh?
I think we're just listening.
No, you're
Finally,
fine.
somebody listens.
Yeah, we're just listening. I did lose you for a second. I was trying to figure out. Jack said we lost audio, so I loaded the video on my phone to see if I had audio, and I have audio on my end. So,
Oh, good.
so I think it's on his end. I was just verifying. I'm like, we're talking and nobody can hear us. I'm like, I'm gonna stop everything for a second. But
Listen,
yeah, no, it's got to be on your end, buddy. I loaded mine up on my phone, so got audio.
There you go. Oh, we just got a message. Somebody can't hear. That's all right. It was just me talking anyway. I generally put people to sleep, so it worked out pretty well. They didn't miss anything.
That just means I don't need my sleeping meds tonight, man.
Yeah, right. Hey, wait a minute.
Lullabies with Donovan.
Right. Just ask him what he's doing. Well, I drew pictures.
Pops, can you hear
Drew
us?
pictures.
If Pops is watching, is he still watching?
Okay. Yeah, Jack said it's on his end. Sorry, I'm just trying to verify. I'm like, I don't want to keep going with the show with
All good.
Yeah, sure.
He said it's
It was
coming
just
in
me
and out
talking.
now, so
We're good.
we're good. So no, you said you took inspiration from the Vulture and the Hobgoblin and the Green Goblin and all that. And
Yeah.
it's really hard to come up with a new suit, a new character. But for what you guys are doing, you're trying to make things relatable for kids. If you have them,
Right.
Resemble other characters, it makes them more attractive to the kids. Because, if it resembles the Green Goblin or the Hobgoblin or the Vulture or any of these characters, they can relate to it more instead of just some new character that looks totally different from everything else. So I think aesthetic wise, you having them resemble other characters is a good thing, because you're targeting the kid audience.
What's that old saying? The only
What about
original
you,
ideas
Joseph?
for the first one?
What is your main?
What's that? I messed
So
up.
Joseph's
what do you
the
do, Joseph?
writer. He's the
What's the
smiler. He
question?
sits there and looks creepy.
Inspiration?
Inspiration.
Is that what we're talking about with the characters? Yeah, I don't know.
No, I was
from
wondering
writing.
on your end, I was just wondering on your end. So what do you do for the book?
The writing part, and then publisher,
The writing.
and then the three of us make up the co-creators. But back to the point about mixing a little bit of the old or the familiar with the new. A lot of the more breakout books in the last 20, 30 years, you see heavily influenced by artists, by writers, and by characters that are known well to people. And I think you do. One of the first questions they ask you on an interview is, "What was your inspiration?" And when you go nothing, it's completely original. That's a really boring answer. Nobody cares. But when you say, we drew from, Amazing Spider-Man 298 for the cover, obviously it's an homage, and the lighthearted feel of McFarlane's Spider-Mans in the 80s. And, we looked at characters that were popular in the Spider-Man mythos, and we wanted to add a little bit of, each one and make our own unique character, but that's somehow familiar to people. So,
unless somebody from Disney's listening, in which case it's completely original. We have no idea.
Completely. All of
I've
it
never heard
original.
of these characters before.
brand new from our minds.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, brand new. Just pulled it out of there. And you know, in my writing, you know, I've got my first project live on Kickstarter right now. In writing, it is really hard to come up with original stuff because there were several parts of writing the book that I would go and I would look up, you know, something. I was like, oh, you know, this sounds awesome. I'm gonna make this up as a new metal or whatever. And I'm like, nope, somebody already thought of that. And then there's a really funny story about one of the ones that I was going to go with. I looked it up and I was like, oh my God, I'm totally not using that. Because like it was nowhere else on the internet except for this one guy's like weird, sick and twisted like blog page. And that was the name of the page. I'm like, yeah, I don't want people Googling this and that be the first thing that pops up because yeah, we won't even talk about it. So there's some interesting things that you find while you're trying to be creative. And, you know, it's really hard to be original. There's been so much stuff done over the years since, you know, people started writing books and then comic books and movies. And, you know, everything's got a little bit of recycled something in it.
Well, like I said a minute ago, there's an old saying that the only original ideas were the first ones.
Yep.
Everything else since then has just been a modern or a new twist on an original idea.
Yeah, how many times has the hero's journey been revamped throughout all movies and all books throughout history?
True.
Yeah. Well, and you get, you know, Marvel doing number one 400 times of a character trying to redo the story over and over again. It's like look, man, I don't really think there's anywhere else you can do with this character.
Or even like, just take something so well known as like, you know, the story of the Greek gods with like Hercules in them.
Yep.
The most original one I've seen is the one on Netflix right now called like Blood of Zeus or something like that. I mean, there's only so many ways you can tell a story that's super well known, but they did a pretty good job of mixing it up. Like they turned the Titans into like kaiju basically. And it was, you know, something different from something super well known. I was kind of impressed. That's really all you can do is kind of put your spin on things that already exist.
Yeah, it was like Dracula Untold. You know, that was kind of a cool way to tell the story about Dracula. You know, how he went to the vampire and sold his soul to him basically, and to gain the immortality, and that's how he became Dracula. You know, it was a totally different story than what was the other Dracula one? I can't even think of the name of it. There's been so many of them. There's like 1,000 of them.
Right.
But yeah, I mean there's I can't think of the name of the movie, but the one movie where it was like he was Judas and he was sacrificed on the cross, and that's how he became.
It's like Dracula 3000 or something, isn't it?
Yeah, it was something like that. It was Dracula 2000.
That's Wes
or
Craven,
Dracula
I think.
Yeah. And you know, so it's like really cool seeing everybody's different takes on characters. And so that's what was really interesting about what you guys did was you did a spin on things where like you asked the kids, what would your superpower be? What would you think the costume would look like? And it's really cool that you give, you know, the creativity to these kids, and you know, you make them an icon to the other kids that have the illnesses, like, you know, Weston with the pediatric brain cancer. You know, you make him feel special and powerful. I mean, heck, the kid's had brain cancer 4 times and he's survived it. He still plays hockey. And so him being an inspiration to others, you guys are taking it to the next level. You're making a comic book based on what character he thought of and the powers that he thinks that character would have, and making him a beacon of light for all the other kids out there suffering from pediatric brain cancer. And you're also supporting the charities at the same time while doing it, which is absolutely awesome.
What's funny with Weston is he doesn't even like comic books. But once him and his dad described, you know, like he wears 22 for his actual hockey jersey and the, you know, the colors and the powers, and we got it all drawn up. His dad was like, yeah, he's been running around to his whole teammates like bragging about it and showing it to them. Like he doesn't like comic books, and he still got excited about it.
Neither did our friend at ACS. She didn't like comic books, and then she went down to Disney just to see what comic books were all about. And she said she was amazed by the art form and everything. And I guess that's what it is. It's just, you know, people are naive to, you know, what becomes the movies ultimately, and all the hard work from, you know, the creative teams behind all of these comic books, you know, no matter what level of popularity they achieve. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that goes into it. Russell, you know, how much research did you put in for the writing aspect? And then God knows how many hours, you know, Donovan put in, you know, with the pencil work and the character concepts and everything. I just think it's an underappreciated medium overall, because by the time you got hundreds of hours in a comic book, you have a nice little, 24-page, 32-page book. People get in their hands. They're like, okay, cool. And then they flip through it for 15 minutes, but you really don't have the greater understanding of how much actual work, blood, sweat, and tears, and everything went into it. And then,
you got
like
a
you
20-minute book that it's a 20-minute read, but it took 100 hours of
And like
from 4, 5,
one of
6
the
different
things
people.
that
You had somebody doing the
one of the things
pencils,
we've had to be
inks.
going over with people. Oh, sorry. Is like with like I said, I just got back from a convention and I had the same exact question probably 100 times, and the lady from ACS had asked us the same question, and she goes, "Is it family friendly?" Because I mean, especially now, comic books today is like the heroes, especially female heroes, are drawn so extra. I guess is the best way to put it. That and there's a lot of blood and stuff like that, and that's not really family oriented. Ours, like we said, we took inspiration from the older late 80s, early 90s Spider-Man. So none of our characters are hypersexualized. There's no cuss words. I mean, yeah, they do fight, but we're not showing blood just for the sake of blood. None of that crap. And I've gotten that question so many times because that's the comics you'll see now is people drawing sexualized characters because it sells.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we're like, no, that's not us. We're not doing that.
No, and I totally understand that. You have the people that write great stories that have a great purpose and that are for great things, and then you have the people that are like, well, I have a story that's pretty decent. I don't know if anybody likes it. What will help it sell? Boobs.
Exactly.
That'll help it sell. We're gonna put them all over the cover. They're gonna be like triple D's, and it's gonna be like shorts. No, I get what you guys are saying. You guys, it's a great book. I cannot wait to get it in my hands and be able to look at it and show it off for people, because we thought about doing the PDF and donating the rest of it, and so instead we just got the regular book, and I'll donate some later to cover it. I wanted something physical in my hands that I can get on and say, look guys, I got the book, here's a couple pages out of the book, that way they can know, hey, when I support this, this guy bought a book and got it sent to him. I know these guys are going to send it to me. I mean, that's a bad thing, through COVID and all that, everybody's stuck at home now. And so there's been so much online transactions. I mean, I've always done online with comic books and stuff anyway, because, out where I live, there's no comic book shops. There are some, they're like an hour away, but I'm too lazy to go drive up there and spend the gas money to go do it. Like, I don't want to drive an hour somewhere and then spend an hour walking around looking for whatever I want and then drive an hour home. I mean, that's just too much work. If I go online,
and then you got where I'm at, where there's too many comic book shops. I Googled the other day, looking for shops near me, and within 10 minutes of my house, there is 27 comic shops.
That's great. We need to supply them all with copies of Pathway.
Yeah,
most of them already have it.
Jeremiah, just go in there and be like, here's a stack of 20. Boom.
I think out of those 27, I believe 19 of them I've given comics to. The other ones I just haven't gotten around to yet.
No, I get it. It's awesome. But, everybody's doing online transactions right now. And unfortunately, we have a lot of bad seeds out there of people that are like, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm doing this for this. And everybody gives them money and then nobody ever gets their books, And it's the same thing with Kickstarter and Indiegogo and stuff. There's a lot of people that are like, well, I have this idea for a book that I'm going to write. Give me $15,000. And then you're like, what? You may write this book. So there's a lot, it's really hard to get people on board without having, people actually buy it and say, hey, look, I've got this. So I definitely plan on doing that. I'm excited to get it. I'm excited to read it. I'm excited about, the things that you guys are doing, because as a critical illness kid, dad, we need more stuff like this. Like I said, in our area, I think Mended Little Hearts is one of the real big ones in St. Louis, and they're kind of nationwide, for heart kids. And they do some stuff, like they'll send plushes to the hospitals for the kids. It's got it'll be like a lion with a heart sewn on with a zigzag down the middle indicating, the broken heart. And it's got a nice little note that says, gifts from Mended Little Hearts. And that's nice. But, to have that kind of, I don't know what the word I'm trying to say. You can't have
Connection.
The group settings right now. Yeah, that kind of connection. That kids can connect with these books like they're connecting with another person, because right now they can't connect with another person. That's
Russell,
like radical,
Yeah, well, it's like I told you the other day when we were talking. I mean, you've got my personal information. Give it to that group you're talking about, and we'll see if we can do something.
Yeah, because I mean, well, and it sucks. I mean, just on our end, Roderick, we had him in counseling. He's been in counseling for a little over a year now, because he has issues. One of the things is, going on heart lung bypass. People don't realize, for a kid to go on a heart lung bypass with a developing brain, it causes them to regress. So when Roderick had his open heart surgery at 2.5, we had to teach him how to walk again. We had to teach him how to talk again. He lost pretty much all of his speech function, just went out the window. And it's like, it's hard being a parent seeing that stuff happen. And so we got him into a speech counselor, and Adriana, she's a little, like a year and a half younger than Roderick. 19 months younger than Roderick. And she speaks better than he does. And so, we try to get him the support. We get him the speech therapy, and we get him all this stuff. And then it's like, now COVID happened. He can't go to his counselor. He was going to a psychiatrist. They got him on anxiety medicine because, like me, they thought I had cancer back in January. And so, we got hit pretty hard. They said there was significant evidence, and Roderick took it really hard. We just had all this stuff going on in his heart. Not his heart surgeon, his cardiologist moved from here to Tennessee, and we got a new one. So he wasn't happy about the new one. Well, then the whole thing happened with me, them thinking I have cancer. So he at that point in January, he was still in school. He went to school and he told his teacher, I don't want to be here anymore. My dad's probably going to die. I just want to go to the hospital and be with him. And nobody said anything about me dying. It's just, back in last September, my grandpa passed away from having a mass in his spine. He had spinal cancer. They had went in and cut it out. They did chemo. It ended up coming back. He got sepsis. So my thought process is he, related that to, oh, now my dad has something in his back, and that, so I don't know. So we got him into counseling for that. Well, then I had the car wreck in March. And so that totally freaked him out because he thought I died because, my wife had to come get me because the car was totaled. Somebody pulled out in front of me, and he's seen the car, and he's just like, oh my gosh. So, we've had a hard time struggling with him with all this stuff. And now there's no counseling. They do it over the iPad, which does absolutely no good. They're like, oh, we're not seeing patients right now. So it's just really hard. And there's no support right now. I mean, yeah, you can get support over the phone. Yeah, you can get the video support where I can get on the phone and I can, oh, hey, yeah. But, when you have a 5-year-old kid that doesn't have enough attention span to watch a 30-minute episode on TV, do you really think he's going to sit there for an hour session with a psychiatrist? I mean, hey, draw me a picture. Oh,
yeah,
no,
I feel you. I've got heart problems too, but they're not as bad as Roderick's. Mine are because of with having CF, all the really rough coughing over the years. I've now got an aneurysm in one side, and I've got a leaky valve from all the coughing. But hey, anytime Roderick needs a pick me up, man, call me on the phone. I'll throw on the full pathway costume and talk to him.
Yeah, Russell, that's a good point that Jeremiah brings up. Is with all of our characters. If Chris Hemsworth goes into a children's hospital as Thor and gives out, stuff, that's amazing. It makes those kids' days, weeks, months, whatever. But what our idea is to have Pathway represent kids with cystic fibrosis and to be as meaningful to them as, a Batman is to someone that connects or relates to Batman, or Spider-Man connects to Spider-Man. So if Jeremiah can lift someone up by giving them a video call and being Pathway, especially cystic fibrosis patients, we made that made our day, that made the whole mission worthwhile. And if we are blessed to do the one with heart disease, and if we can call up Roderick as someone costumed as that character, and we can reach out to other kids fighting these diseases as the character that represents them, I think that's our greatest cause in all of this. If we can bring that to those kids, and then I just met a celebrity. It's someone that I can connect to because they have the same illnesses as me. That's our mission.
Yeah, the last video call we did was with a little 6-year-old girl with CF. Her name is Scarlett. She's over in the UK. Like, she was crying through half the video because she had already gotten the book for Christmas from her mom, and was just bawling the whole time I'm trying to talk to her, but like smiling at the same time. I wanted to cry the whole time. It took a lot not to.
Yeah, and I know I get derailed. I get long-winded talking about it. It's just, I want people to understand, as a critical illness parent, stuff like this is very important because we're stuck at home with them right now, and we try everything we can to soothe him, or we do the video conference calls with the psychiatrist, and it's like, comic book heroes and having characters that are representative of the illness and stuff they have with that you guys are talking about is just a great idea because it's a great form of support that they don't have to have somebody to talk to. They don't need somebody there. They can go and sit down when they're having problems and step into the shoes of their superhero and say, I'm going to kick this problem's ass, and I'm going to stand up, and later today I'm going to be strong, and I'm going to move on, and I'm going to get through this. Wow, this is going for an hour. It feels like we just started. I hope your audio is back now, buddy. Apparently it is, obviously. So no, I just want people to understand the importance. Every time I talk about comic books for kids, it's a huge issue. It's a huge deal. And I see firsthand the kind of help it creates for these kids when they get gifts, or when hospitals donate stuff to them, or for when they see their favorite superhero. Like Roderick loves Spider-Man, the Hulk. So like when we went to C2E2 last year, it was like he was having a bad day until he was dressed as the Hulk, and we ran into Loki in the hallway. He's like, "Oh, you're going down, Loki." And so it was really funny. The guy actually, he's like, "Oh no," and he started, saying words out of the movie. He's like, I picked the wrong planet to be on." And he's like, he holds the staff up, and they acted like they were fighting, and I took pictures of them, and it's really funny. You got Roderick,
awesome.
He's got the fists all up, and Loki's like holding the staff up at him, and it's like it's stuff like that lifts these kids up because it takes their mind off everything that's wrong in the world, and that's why comic books are so awesome. And it's awesome that you guys do this too, because people say comics are a dying form of media, and they're not. We just need to keep the kids and our kids interested in them. As long as we introduce them to stuff that keeps them interested, this stuff can go on forever. And I have to say, I don't know who thinks that comic book industry is dead, because back when I was a kid and I was into comic books, when you went to a Comic-Con, there was like 25 people there.
Right.
And, you were the kid that got beat up at school. And now you go to Comic-Con and there's like 20,000, 30,000 people there.
Unfortunately, that's one of those issues
that
divide the comic book community real hard. So a lot of people who are saying it's dying are the people who are opposed to change. And unfortunately, that's how you keep an industry going, is being willing to change and grow and adapt. So.
Well, guys, I had a great show. I don't want to keep you guys forever. I know you got stuff to do, Donovan. I know you're still at work. It was really great getting to talk to you. I definitely love the message you guys are putting out, and I hope you guys, are able to achieve great things with this. I will definitely keep sharing this out, and I look forward to, like I said, I got a book coming. I think it said Thursday or Friday. I haven't checked the tracking on it to see exactly what day, but as long as I have it by Saturday, I'll definitely be doing a review on it, and I'll be sharing it out everywhere. So I hope we can get some eyes on it for you guys in the audience. Anybody going back and watching this later on, whether it's Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, I just popped the link into the comments there. You guys can go to this website here. These fine fellas have all kinds of cool goodies for you. You got the regular book, the PDF book. You have throw, flip-flops, stickers, and best of all, there's a donate button at the top that you can click on. And if you don't want a book, you don't want a throw, you just love the message these guys have, and you want to help out the kids with cystic fibrosis or whatever illnesses they're supporting, go donate some money to them. It's that easy. And as well, the Facebook link is also in the description of the video too. Go follow their group on Facebook and get some updates on things to come. And I'll leave it to you guys. Donovan, I'll start with you first. If you guys want to kind of give everybody information on where they can find you.
I'm pretty easy to find. You can pick me up like the Heroes for Causes. Plot Twist Publishing. It's a local publisher. They're on their website, plottwistpublishing.com. Otherwise, I'm going to keep more friends on Facebook. So just Donovan Peterson. Nobody likes me.
We like you, Donovan.
Okay, yeah.
We all like you, Donovan.
Hey, that was easy
Next.
enough. Donovan Peterson on Facebook. It's easy enough. We
Yep.
love you, man. You make all the pretty pictures, so
I
we gotta
try.
love you. So, Joseph, you want to give everybody, tell everybody where they can find you at?
Yeah, heroesforcauses.com obviously is where you can find the project. I have a website, josephamichael.com, that has, I think, the Pathway Project and all the other stuff I've worked on in comics. And then, yeah, we just ask anybody that gets the book, send us pictures holding the book, tag people, like Jeremiah said, tag celebrities. We just want to grow this message as much as possible to reach as many kids and do as much good as we can.
Awesome. And then Jeremiah, I will left you for last. If you want to tell people where they can find you, and
Yeah, on Facebook, it's just my name, Jeremiah Stemple. Then, of course, the Pathway CF Superhero Facebook page and Instagram and Twitter are all run by me, and I'm on there as much as I can remember to be because I'm getting old and senile. But I post on there when I can. That's best ways to get a hold of me. Only other thing is lately I've been encouraging anyone who can, especially kids, but anybody, to do some fan art for us and put it on the website. We'll put it on there with all your social medias so they know who did it. And it's good to see, fans doing fan art. It's their take on our heroes.
well, that's good. When I get it, I will make sure that the kids read it with me, and I'll have them do some fan art and throw it up on there. I got some other
Awesome.
fan art I'm working on for another book and have them send to. So, who knows?
Cool.
Maybe one day they'll be comic book artists. That's what Roderick wants to do. He's like,
Nice.
I started a page for him on Russ Explode Studios. There's a group in here that's a part of my page. That's Roderick's Weekly Comics. We haven't posted anything in it yet because he broke his arm a few months ago. So, and then now I've been super busy with the Kickstarter and everything. So we're gonna probably work on that tomorrow and the next day. But definitely when we get the book, I'll have them do some fan art. And you guys heard the man. Get you a book. Have your kids do some fan art. Send it over. Let them know that their message is being heard. Let them know that these kids are hearing the message that's being told and that they're doing what they're shooting out to do. So I thank you very much, fellas, for being on. If you guys want to hang out in the green room for a minute, I will be back in a second.
Yeah.
Thank you, Russ. We appreciate
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Russell.
Thank you. Guys, thanks for being here tonight. We had a great show. It's definitely an awesome cause. It's something that hits home with me. You guys know that I always preach about comic books for kids, and when I heard these guys and their message on Philip's show, I'm like, I got to have these guys on. I want to see what they're all about, and I want to get in on their books and read it and do a review on it. So I'm really excited to get that this week. You guys, please come hang out with me Saturday. It'll be here on Russ Explode Studios, Comics and More New Jersey Chaos Group. Sorry. So I'll definitely be doing a review on that. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. And get yourself a book. If you don't want a book, go to their website, donate some money to the cause. Get you a throw pillow, get you some flip flops. I know it's not flip flop weather unless you live in Florida like they do. So, it is what it is. I don't think I'm going to have a show Tuesday. I think Tuesday night, guys, I'm going to do a kind of a Q&A for Zen on Nanite Titan. I didn't have anybody reach out that has any projects going on. I asked a few people, and they already had stuff going on. So I think I decided on, since Saturday, I didn't do the live reading like I had planned on because I wasn't feeling the greatest with my neck. I think that's what we're going to do. I think we're going to do like a half-hour, 45-minute Q&A. If you guys have questions about Zen on Nanite Titan or the Kickstarter, definitely join me for that. I will do a live reading at the end with sound effects and all. It's going to be great. So I thank you all for being here. Check out their website. Check out their stuff. Check out the Facebook group. Go back it. Go buy it. Donate some money to it. You're helping a great cause. As always, Russ Explode Studios. Projects that'll blow your mind. You guys have a great night, and I will see you Tuesday. Have a great week.